Because Tesla, strangely enough, although he was making some pretty big claims, wasn't actually claiming a violation of conservation. Right? He was saying there's the energy of the vacuum. Yeah, and then if you look at Tesla's work, so he's not claiming that thermodynamics in first law was wrong. What he was saying is, I found the mechanism to convert the energy of the vacuum into Newtonian energy, kinetic energy, and so on. But again, if you look at the crazy history of this area, you'll find that it's always gravity and magnetism, and indeed there's several chemical claims, but it's this weird thing that as kids, it's the forces acting at a distance. It's kind of this fascination. But I'd also say we're incredibly skeptical people. I mean, we look at every other claimant and go, asshole. So that's exactly. I mean, we come at this as people who just wouldn't, unless we can put a meter across it, we tend not to believe a thing. We're very cynical people.
Can I just add a point here? Just with the work of Victor Schauberger, he actually shows quite clearly that in the biological, natural processes, our laws of thermodynamics and whatever
and there's a very fascinating
are a little bit dodgy.
Yeah. And again, I don't mean to be blasé about this stuff. I mean, you have to hunt, and people should be cynical. Cynical is the wrong word. Skeptical about most things. But I mean, my training as an engineer was, and I think particularly in this place, and I hope it never changes, was one of stick your finger in the wind stuff. We spent most of our times in labs, and as I say, never any doubt about it. I mean, it is also fair to say that, I forget his name, my thermodynamics lecturer did one time stay here in a less liberal country and taken outside and shot. But that was nothing to do with me not disbelieving in thermodynamics. It's probably more a tendency. We do what I would call Victorian science, but we do it with 21st century thoughts. And I think that what I'm asking for is a simple thing, is that when you see all this information that you'll put in the public domain, and maybe it'll be satisfactory, there'll be an awful lot more than we have done, to at least consider, if you have an interest in the technology, an interest in engineering, an interest in building stuff, at least consider, if you've got the right background and time, we're not asking for any money, absolutely clear, no money will change hands, consider getting involved yourself, consider proving or disproving.
Right, well, just an interesting little fact. I'm talking about Faraday, and Tyndall was Faraday's successor and wrote the book. And the real point about fields was that Faraday was absolutely ashamed that he had concepts of fields. Coming back to Trinity College, we're talking about Fitzgerald there, and his famous statement is talking to engineers and said who thought that electricity was water flowing along a pipe. He says there's more going on outside the wire than inside. Right, let's take another one.
If this effect is so difficult to find, so difficult for you to reproduce easily, how do you...
That's not what he said.
No, perhaps not quite, but difficult for somebody without the right choice to reproduce. How on earth did you find it in the first place?
I don't personally think it's that difficult to detect. I think that it is incredibly difficult to build these kind of systems. I mean, and maybe we'll go to this. I mean, one of the things that I was going to go is to say, I mean, what we found is the type of interactions that allow this effect to happen are incredibly mechanical and stressful on systems. It's kind of the analogy I give is it's like driving a car at 100 miles an hour down the road with speed bumps. Yes, you get so far, but at the end of the day, the suspension is going to break. So what we ended up having to take on, which is something that again really adds no value to our proposition, but again to come to the point of finger in the wound, seeing is believing, we had to develop all these kind of accessory technologies like these magnetic barriers, I believe, are equally as impossible, and the Virtual Serum, anyway, they're pretty cool. So we've had to develop that. But equally then, you have to understand, if you look at any substantive technology, if you look at the hard disk or the computer, the first hard disk cost 100 million to build. A room the size of this, plus the air conditioning building next door, and stored 112 kilobytes. That's 60 gigabytes in this phone, $50. Yeah. So we're at the 112 kilobyte level here. Yeah, but the other reality is it doesn't take 40 years for technology to go from a big room and 112 kilobytes to your iPod these days. Development cycles are massively compressed, and our whole objective is to engage with the development community in a type of open source or format of open source to escalate the engineering process. So a lot of people say, well, what's the live the dream, what's the business model is to get 10,000 companies developing. Because if 10,000 companies developing, it escalates. I'm not sure if that answered your question, Frank.
Well, so you were lucky then. Or perhaps unlucky. Depends how you look at it.
Unlucky is the term I use. It's not necessarily, it's a really funny thing, and again, if you believe it for a microsecond, it's not necessarily something that you really want in your life, strangely enough. It's not because I believe the guys in dark suits are going to come around and whack us. I don't live in the conspiracy world, but we are selling. Again, I'm a great guy for analogies, but the only analogy I can give is when we started promoting this quietly to universities, it's kind of like if it was possible to have definitive proof there's no God. Yeah, and walking up to the Pope and going, the Pope doesn't want to hear. Yeah, and that's the experience that we've had. Now, I'm not, by the way, moaning about it. We've also had brilliant times. I mean, we are promoting something that is absolutely fundamental. It is absolutely great. But it's a hard fight. And it's not something we'll ever back away from. It's not, our job, and it is more than just money. Money is incredibly important. Money allows us to develop these kind of things. But it's also an incredibly potent, incredibly useful technology that we really want to see in the market. We really want to see our kids driving cars with this stuff in it, and I'm not talking about little electric cars that do 0 to 60 in 5 minutes, but real cars.
I'm afraid we've only got time for one more question.
Just a very quick one. I think there's 2 scientists doing studies to kind of...
21, yeah.
What stage that?
I can't discuss it, but it's ongoing. The contracts we have with them are absolutely rock solid, so I can't discuss other than to say it's ongoing.
Who are they or where are they from?
Again, we made the agreement we made with them was they will put whatever they say. They come back and say this is all BS. Yeah, just so let me finish. We're contractually required to publish. We're not allowed to publish their names before. We have an absolute contractual requirement to publish their names and their conclusions at the end.
How many of them?
I wish I knew. It's ongoing. We, again, have to be fair about this. We could not put a time frame around it, but...
obviously, it's going to be sometime in February.
No. Why is that obvious?
Well, it's just the only time to develop engineering solutions, working.
Again, there's many. What we have said is we would not attempt to commercialise the technology until we got these 21 scientists who issued a read it. They're verdict on it. Okay. We're not attempting to commercialise. We're attempting to get people to replicate, which is another part of our ballot. This 300, engineering companies isn't about us commercialising. It's about one of the other key attributes in any scientific discovery or engineering discovery is replication. So this is more about validation than about anything else. But we do have other validation we'll be putting in order to provide some framework for people to come in and actually spend some time. But I won't discuss the jury any further, to be completely honest. I wish I could, but I won't.
Can I just ask one brief supplementary question?
Yep.
Will you be releasing blueprints and configurations for your machines?
There will be specific designs available in, what's the point? I mean, they're not going to be particularly easy to build, but they will be very specific. If anybody, and I'll be clear, we're looking for engineering companies and or engineers, qualified engineers who have the time and the resources, because it does take, you've got to engage at some level to go off. And even crew is for it. Clearly we're not doing it, setting people up for failure. We will be extremely explicit about building things, blueprints if you want for it from those terms. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's probably forcing me, this is the very last question.
It's just a comment on the first, on the law of physics that chart had up. The first one you had was a physical law remains true until